Fionna and Cake Season 2 has been greenlit. So when will these new episodes come out? No idea. Will they be finished and then just completely scrapped for tax money? Possibly. But whatever happens, I honestly loved the first season. It was so creative, so dark, and so much fun. I don't know about you, but Jerry, favorite episode, hands down.
In olden days, I would have rewarded your insolence with death 1,000-fold.
If you've been around the channel recently, you'll know that I love to just throw my hat in the ring and write episodes for future installments of TV and film. And Adventure Time has one of the most expansive lores of any series, and things get complicated in a hurry. You have eldritch gods, space, curses, the four elements. Literally, there's so much. But lucky for you, I've seen all of Uncivilized Elk's videos at least 5 times, so we're in good hands. I've planned out 3 new episodes for another season of Fionna and Cake. And a few notes before we start. This is not going to be like the Rick and Morty videos where we plot out the episode beat for beat using a structural tool like the Dan Harmon story circle. Since we don't know who we're following in this new season, we don't have to craft these alternate versions of OO around the development of a certain character. For example, the Ice Prince was written as a fold to Simon, furthering his development. When you write these alternate universes, you should center them around the growth of a certain protagonist. But, you know, I didn't want that restriction for this video. So instead of running through the episode beat for beat, I'm going to give you the setup, timeline implications, and the ending. And don't worry, we'll explain the timeline as we go along. Because trust me, I know, it can be confusing. All of these characters and set pieces. So for those of you who aren't up to date on everything, I got you covered. In the episode Still, the Ice King uses a potion to render Finn and Jake motionless, forcing them to hang out with him and bond. Typical Adventure Time shenanigans ensue. At the conclusion of the episode, the Ice King accidentally freezes himself, and Gunter pushes the antidote out the window. That is the timeline we know. So let's step into an alternate universe and make one change. In this universe, the Ice King decided not to use the potion on Finn and Jake, but instead to visit the Cloud Kingdom, which we've seen him do in other episodes. After he's constantly rejected in the Cloud Kingdom because, you know, he's Ice King, he decides to use the potion on the Cloud people, intending to paralyze them so they'll have to hang out with him. But this is the Cloud Kingdom, made out of clouds. One spill of the potion later, and those clouds have become infected with paralyzing magic, and they are now spreading across OO. Flash forward 6 months. We begin the episode in Marceline's cave, where most citizens of OO have taken refuge. The Cloud Kingdom's sickness has spread across the entire continent, creating still clouds. A still cloud can still traverse across the sky, but fall under its shadow and you become frozen. The entire land of OO has become one giant game of freeze tag. At first, this was just a minor annoyance. You know, Choose Goose got frozen, probably a good thing. Just avoid the typically cloudy areas and you should be fine. But this becomes a problem when it starts to rain. Rain will freeze you permanently. Our protagonists have already lost several of their friends this way. Jake has been frozen for 4 of those 6 months, and good old BMO didn't make it past day 1. This episode will follow Princess Bubblegum, you know, OO's lead scientist, Finn, who wants to get Jake back, Ice King, who deep down feels partially responsible, and several other characters including Peppermint Butler, Marceline, and Carol from the episode The Tower. Being a creature of pure water, the plan is for Bubblegum to douse Carol with an antidote that she made Ice King steal from Wizard City. Carol changes from her water form to her cloud form and attempts to spread the antidote in the sky, but it's just too much for her, and she disappears into the clouds. Okay. The rest of the episode follows Plan B, where they must capture Bellinoche and use his magic negating powers to stop the Medusa storm. They eventually succeed, and they're also able to reverse the citizens who have been permanently frozen, so this universe gets a happy ending. Okay, so for this idea, I wanted to pull from a lot of episodes that aren't very plot heavy. The fun scenarios are the ones you wouldn't expect. So I envision this episode starting with the introduction of this mysterious storm, and we only learn what happened later on in the episode where Ice King confesses that it's his fault. And given what we've seen in the episode What Have You Done, Bubblegum will probably beat the shit out of Ice King. Here's the rundown of the elements you might not know. Carol is a being of pure water, and she can take different forms. We've seen her as a cloud, as ice, and as water. She is sort of friends with Finn, so if Finn is helping on this mission, she'd probably come along. Also, her kingdom is ruined, so probably that too. Bella Noche appears in the episode Betty as the one who zaps the Ice King of his magic, turning him into Simon. He has properties of magic absorption, turning you into a non-magic creature. Of the 3 ideas I'm pitching to you today, this is by far the most lighthearted. Fionna and Cake, you know, it's an adult-oriented series. Not only can Fionna flip off the bus driver, they're also allowed to go to much darker places with their stories. And I promise you, our pitches will only get crazier as we go.
Before there was time, before there was anything, there was nothing. And before there was nothing, there were monsters.
A long, long time ago, the Martian entity known as Glob defeated the ancient cosmic entity known as Orgolorg. Orgolorg was crushed under the weight of Earth's gravity into a penguin, Gunter. This was his punishment for trying to absorb the power of a catalyst comet. 1,000 years later, Orgolorg is reawakened inside Gunter and attempts to intercept a second comet, because one is hurled towards Earth every 1,000 years on the dot. That's how the catalyst comet operates. And in our normal timeline, in the 2-parter known as Hot Diggity Doom and the Comet, Orgolorg/Gunter never succeeded in gaining the power of the comet, and he was defeated. But what if Orgolorg won that original fight? In this timeline, Orgolorg won the first time, but the comet still struck the Earth. Before it could, he was able to absorb just enough of its power to level up. He spared the Earth though, as he didn't want to interfere with whatever was sending this comet every 1,000 years. Think about it, he could just return every 1,000 years for more power. Since Glob was dead, Magic Man fills his role as protector. Back on Earth, everything develops mostly the same. Mo is a brilliant inventor that was born on Earth a long time ago. He's still alive, but in his prime, he discovered that there was a society on Mars. He contacted them and, realizing there was life intelligent enough to reach out to them, Mars sent a message back. So began years of communication, and they would eventually bridge their planets together in a large megastructure. Mo was debriefed on the Orgolorg situation, and it would not be much longer until he returned. After all, in terms of the timeline, we're pretty dang close to that 1,000 years being up. Mars believed they needed a powerful AI planetary defense system if they wanted a chance at stopping Orgolorg. Mo agreed, but was afraid of a complete takeover by this artificial intelligence. He's not an idiot. So, he built a robot with true emotions, the purest of heart artificial intelligence in the galaxy, BMO. BMO becomes a planetary defense network. It's now 1,000 years after Orgolorg struck down Glob, and he's back to eat the second comet. But this time, Earth was ready. With Magic Man's power, combined with this new AI, they hatch a plan to intercept the Catalyst Comet early, before Orgolorg shows up. The bulk of the episode is the planning, assembling, and hatching of this plan to save both planets. Since everything on Earth is the same minus Moko and BMO, you can even have other characters join the fight in some way. Finn, Jake, Bubblegum, the list really is endless here. The only stipulation is it has to take place in place of the episodes Hot Diggity Doom and the Comet, since this episode revolves around the comet arriving at this very moment. In my version, everyone from that 2-parter episode is here to help. Finn, Jake, PB, Peppermint Butler, and even the King of Ooh are all wrapped up in this adventure. The rest of the gang is sort of puzzled as to why the King of Ooh is even here. He's kind of a selfish dick, but whatever. The more help, the better. The plan is about to succeed. They're just about to capture the comet when suddenly, the King of Ooh snaps. His body starts to recoil and flashes of green smoke start to emit from his eyes.
Burn. Heroes of Ooh, it's only a matter of time.
I know that voice. Yoink!
Finally dead, aren't you, child?
It's the Lich. Like Orgalorg, the Lich has recognized this cosmic alignment of open doors, and he plans to steal the comet instead. Our characters now must fight a battle on two fronts. Finn has killed the Lich before, so he takes the first swing at him, but he's having trouble keeping up, and eventually it looks like they might lose this one. Now, I'm not sure about this ending, but hear me out. The Lich absorbs the comet, and he becomes the most powerful being in the universe, able to destroy worlds with a thought. He turns to extinguish the Earth, but before he can, Orgalorg shows up, and the two enter a battle of the mind. But it's a stalemate. Nobody wins. They're two cosmic beings locked in a stalemate for all eternity. And there they are, in space, right above the Earth, basically frozen in time. I think this idea has a lot of potential, but if I'm being honest, it probably could use some more time in the oven. Let's be real. It's super ambitious, and if we really want to have a grounded story at the center, then we need to pick a character to follow. I can see this episode being like a sort of season finale for a season for Fionna and Cake, with whatever character we're following for that season sacrificing themselves to save this timeline. Why does the Lich possess the King of Oo? How is that even possible? Because, if you remember, before Hot Diggity Doom and the Comet, there was a seldom mentioned episode called Gold Stars, where the spirit of the Lich began to claw its way out of Sweet Pea, the healed version of the Lich. This terrified the King of Oo in that episode, but nothing really came of it. But in this alternate universe, Orgalorg winning the first time led to enough change where the Lich recognized his opportunity to gain this ultimate power. He possesses the King of Oo in this moment, and plays his part until he gets to space, where he can absorb the comet. So honestly, let me know how you would finish this episode in the comments. I've been cooking it for a while, and I just cannot find a good way to end it. But I know you guys have some banger ideas. I've read them. So how would you like to finish this one? I swear, I'm not just being lazy. I came up with an ending, I just don't love it. I think you guys could do a better job. And we finally arrive at our last pitch. And if you thought the last one got up to some crazy shit, strap in. Season 7's pre-boot and reboot set a lot of things in motion for Adventure Time's modern story threads. We get to meet Dr. Gross, the first modern human we've seen. She was kicked out of the human island for getting out of hand with her genetic experiments.
They used to ask me that all the time back at the island. What are you doing, Dr. Gross? You'll never get away with this!
In fact, she's the sole reason Finn's biological mother died. She's a pretty nasty character, and she presumably dies at the end of Preboot. We don't see her ever again. This alternate universe episode takes place before Preboot. Very important. Before Dr. Gross finds Tiffany in the stomach of the Worm Queen, she finds another biological anomaly first. A living organ, brought to life with magic. Ricardio. Introduced all the way back in Season 1, and making his return in Season 4, Ricardio the Heart Guy is actually Ice King's heart given life, through Ice King's magic. All he wants is Princess Bubblegum, and let me tell you, they do not pull any punches with this guy.
You see, I thought I only wanted your heart, but I was wrong. I was unfair to you. I want the full package.
His infatuation with her is downright disturbing at some points. Dr. Gross finds Ricardio sometime before Preboot while drilling under the Candy Kingdom. She overpowers him, and being a scientist, she is fascinated with his biology. I mean, he is biology. He's an organ with a mind of his own, it defies logic. So, she conducts an invasive experiment on him to figure out what he is. But this experiment is negated by Ice King's magic, which gives him life. She amps up the juice. Suddenly, her machine overloads, explodes, and Ricardio is thrown across the room into another machine, the genetic copier. It starts to copy his sinews and tissues, and it's out of control. A mass of flesh and blood grows inside the ship until it bursts from the inside. On the surface, Princess Bubblegum detects some unusual activity beneath her. Sensing something is approaching the kingdom from below, She tries to get away on the morrow, but she's too late. Suddenly, this disgusting mass of flesh and bone erupts from the sewers, covering the entire Candy Kingdom and its citizens. It spreads across the entire castle and part of the grasslands, finally slowing just short of the treehouse. But it continues to grow and spread across everything, albeit slowly. This horrific mass wasn't just duplicated exponentially, it interacted with the formulas inside Dr. Gross's ship, kickstarting a new genetic disease. Everyone inside the kingdom is seemingly trapped, or worse, transformed. It took a few hours for everyone to come together and figure out what to do, but it was enough time for the disease to spread through the treehouse. Finn and Jake made it out okay, but not BMO. This is the most serious threat Ooh has ever faced, and it rallies the other three kingdoms together to figure out a plan to stop this thing. In this episode, Flame Princess takes charge. Cinnamon Bun is by her side, and he has a serious stake in saving his old kingdom. First, Flame Princess sends in Finn and Jake in special fire suits to resist the disease, but they are soon overpowered by something really, really powerful. Not just a monster. Something inside the kingdom was actively stalking them like a predator, then pounced. Finn and Jake are gone, but being a strong leader, she isn't deterred. Another character appears to join the fight. This one unexpected. Patience St. Pim has entered the ring. She's emerged from her hiding to help. This causes obvious tension in the group, because her and Flame Princess really do not get along, but they need all the help they can get. In Patience's overconfidence, she goes in alone, casting a super powerful ice spell directly into the heart of the kingdom, but it's reflected. Patience is stunned. The only thing that could possibly counteract her powers are the powers of another elemental. Could Bubblegum still be alive in there somewhere? In a last-ditch effort to save Ooh, Flame Princess, Slime Princess, and Patience St. Pim have to team up to save their elemental sister. They fight their way to the center of the castle, where they find the Morrow, transformed but motionless. I really want you guys to picture this in your head. Next to the Morrow, they find Bubblegum, sealed into the castle walls, both of them meshed together in a tangle of vessels. Bubblegum is gone, and she clearly isn't the one preventing them from getting to the heart of the castle. Suddenly, they hear a loud snap as their enemy crushes a bone underneath their paw. It's Goliad, Princess Bubblegum's perfect animal clone. She's been transformed and her will is gone, but her power remains. They prepare for the final fight when Goliad suddenly casts her mind control. Bursting through the wall behind her, Nettie crushes the princesses. The episode draws to a close as Ricardio emerges from the ground. Ice King's magic can't tell the difference between Bubblegum and her clone. He approaches her, infatuated with her power, asking to rule the land of Ooh together. Goliad steps on Ricardio, and he bursts open with a wet splat.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
Yeah, I might have gone overboard there. You probably won't believe me, but this didn't start as me trying to create the most dark and twisted episode of Adventure Time to ever exist. But that's what we got. If you don't know Goliad, she is Princess Bubblegum's clone, intended to take care of the kingdom when Bubblegum is gone. She became more powerful than PB and tried to take over the whole thing, but she was stopped by Stormo, Finn's perfect clone. They entered a mind control battle, and it ended in a perfect stalemate, with them locked in standstill until the end of time. Seriously, you can actually see them in the finale, still fighting for control. Patience St. Pim is the ice elemental. Ice King may have the powers of ice, but she really controls it, the element itself. She was set free in the episode Elemental, and she enacted her plan in the Elements arc. So, if you've been paying attention, you'll probably realize that this episode needs to take place after Elemental, but before Skyhooks for it to work. And what do you know? Preboot, the episode where Dr. Gross meets her end, is sandwiched just between these two episodes. So, the horrific events of this one would have to take place just before Preboot. And we know for a fact that Ricardio is still kicking around by this time, as we see him in Gumbaldia, the second to last episode of the entire series. So, all of this lines up time-wise. Adventure Time has such a rich lore. I planned on pitching more of these in this video, but instead I opted to take a deeper look and fully flesh out just a few of them. So here's a few ideas that didn't make it to the final round. A citizen of the Hot Dog Kingdom finds the Thought Cannon, and turns the Hot Dog Kingdom into the dominant power in U. The Nightosphere goes to war with Lumpy Space, and U is a supposed neutral ground where espionage takes place. While on a typical dungeon adventure, Finn and Jake discover a stash of unlaunched mushroom bombs. They accidentally set off the entire cache, leading to a dark and twisted version of U. Gunter the Dino performs the Ice Crown's wish successfully. This means the Mushroom War never happened, and Gunter becomes an immortal guardian of the planet, and the technologically developed humans discover Gunter and his power, and they try to take that power for themselves. When attempting to use the Enchiridion to go back in time to save Betty, Simon screws it up and triggers a time loop where the same day repeats over and over again. Warren Ampersand impregnates Billy instead of Joshua, meaning Jake never existed, and Finn and Jermaine become a duo, taking over the family ghost hunting business. Billy breaks his sword, purchases the grass sword, and falls for the grass curse, and he's unable to control it like Finn was. Finn and Jermaine are called in to deal with a rogue Grass Billy and exorcise his soul. So let me know in the comments which of those was your favorite, and if you know what it could be called. I had so much fun writing these pitches. Like I said, Adventure Time is such a rich, expansive lore. They're honestly a lot of fun. So if you'd like to see another video on Adventure Time, whether it's a pitch video or just doing an episode ranking, I'd love to cover it. You can show your support by liking this video, if you choose. I also have an Instagram art account where I post drawings like these. So that's all for now. I will see you in the next video. I love you guys. Bye.